Hi, my name is Kirsten Allendorf, and my teaching philosophy as a professional educator will be to shape the lives of these prospering children to create a carefree but extremely educational environment in which students not only feel comfortable but safe to learn in. They will be free from scrutiny and from judgment when asking questions or when struggling with something new. They will be allowed to discover their own ways of personal and individual learning, and never allowed to impact the education of another student in a negative or harmful way, both physically and mentally.
Kids don't remember what you try and teach them. They remember what you are. This quote by Jim Henson was recited to me by a patron at my part-time job, who herself has been a primary school teacher for over 25 years. She then proceeded to tell me that children will learn more from you as an individual and your actions than any book you read to them, any maths equation you ask them to solve, and any word you ask them to spell. They look to you for guidance, not only as the starting block for their education, but also as the foundation for the creation of the person who they soon will become. My educational pedagogy and teaching philosophy follows closely to philosophers Nell Nodding and Paulo Freire. Noddings proposes an alternative educational scheme based on caring. Her concept of caring is enough to suggest that it draws our attention to our passions, attitudes, connections, concerns, and experienced responsibilities, rather than the traditional disciplines. Freire advocates an education or pedagogy that enhances and expands every human being's ability to understand and transform the world which he or she is a part of. He also believes that education is fundamental to freedom. A caring but highly educational environment is exactly what I intend to do to make my classroom flourish. I will use the guidance of these philosophers to continually shape my pedagogy to make sure that every child that enters and leaves my classroom feels valued, included, and celebrated.
When creating my educational philosophy, there are many aspects that education is shaped by that needed to be considered to make sure all students feel safe, welcomed, cared for, important, and supported so that they get the best possible outcome in their educational studies. Things that will be rejected and unaccepted in my classroom to make sure this environment is created includes racism, sexism, stereotypes and mythical norms, and tokenism.
Controlling the socio-cultural understanding of these aspects will ensure that my classroom and teaching environment stays positive. I also need to understand and take into consideration that we live in a heterogeneous world. Therefore, many children do not have the same cultural background, socio-economical status, or belong to the same class. Therefore, it is important when planning lessons that I cater for diversity and not for a specific target group of students. Not only these, but the way in which students learn differ from child to child. Some may be auditory learners, visual learners, or kinesthetic learners. This also ties back to the socio-economical status or class of a family, depending on what resources are available to the child at home.
I want to create a learning environment in my classroom where children learn to accept everyone individually, no matter what. I want to inspire them to make others see the same way once they leave my classroom and move on, whether it be to another classroom or out in our society. In an age where education is evolving at an unprecedented rate, it is more important than ever that teachers and schools keep pace with change. Simply relying on conventional wisdom and established practices is no longer enough. That is why I have chosen to create my philosophy the way I have, because it is extremely adaptable to any change that may occur in not only the educational world, but the social world as well. To my children, I want to be not just their teacher, but their role model, their storyteller, their hero, their advisor, their inspiration, and their foundation.
William Arthur Ward once said, "The mediocre teacher tells, the good teacher explains, the superior teacher demonstrates, the great teacher inspires." I want to inspire every child that enters my classroom to leave feeling like they are worth their weight in the world. I want them to take the knowledge they have learnt from me and go and use that knowledge and experience to inspire the rest of the world.
Education is the most powerful weapon in which you can use to change the world. Nelson Mandela. I want to use my knowledge, my pedagogy, and my educational philosophy to change the lives of each and every student I come into contact with, to make sure they get the best possible chance at a great education. This is why I want to dedicate my life to this profession. This is my educational philosophy.